Boys and girls, moms and dads, welcome to Pin, the Volleyball Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Tolman. To my right, as always, Danger Will Robinson. He's on his phone for some reason in the middle of our podcast. Maybe he'll get over that as we get going here.
Work never stops.
But our producer over here behind our screens is Chris Maggs. We are learning more and more about this podcast stuff. Chris is doing a great job, and we're excited for episode 21. What did we name it? Travel ball. Why do we go on trips? We're talking travel volleyball today. I don't know. What do we want to name it? We probably should have come up with this way before this moment of introduction to our podcast.
Don't forget your toothbrush.
Don't forget your toothbrush.
Don't forget the volleyballs.
No, yeah. Pack all your uniforms.
On your carry-on.
Ready to go? Let's do it.
All right.
Chris, the sound. Oh, jeez.
That's it.
He was distracted.
Got it.
We're good. All right. So we are right in the middle of, I guess not in the middle anymore. We're sort of the tail end of our travel. These guys,
because we only have one more travel tournament.
Yeah,
for girls.
Right.
Yep.
So Chris and Will coach an 18s team. They've already done their travel. They're prepping for nationals here in a couple of weeks, and then some of our younger teams are out traveling. We've got some heading to Salt Lake City this weekend. So it's been on the forefront of my mind as the director of the club, and certainly on the forefront of all of our coaches and players and parents' minds, the whole travel situation. So we wanted to take some time, hopefully paint a light on what this travel thing's all about.
And it's a lot.
There is so much that we could talk about. I am, as a director of the volleyball club, I am riddled with anxiety during the travel season. Like, I can't even begin to tell you how stressed out I've been over the last month. Not because of anything anybody's doing in particular, just
there's a lot of logistics, a lot of moving pieces,
and a lot that can go wrong. And so I kind of walk on eggshells, sit on pins and needles, whatever phrase you want to come up with when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm excited to hopefully help educate a little bit.
Give our perspective.
Right. And the people who listen to our podcast probably are like, yeah, we get it. And then the people who don't should listen and understand,
Isn't
I
that
suppose.
usually how, that's
yeah.
usually
So
how it goes.
if you are listening and you find this helpful information towards a travel tournament, and you know a parent or a coach or somebody who might benefit from some of the things we
Michelle
say,
Shuey,
pass it on. Michelle, pass
post
it on
your Facebook.
Right. A contributor, since she had a comment. Do we have any comments on the?
We do not.
On the queue. I haven't.
We do not, but I do think it's important to shout out Britton West because we just were talking about him. So
why are we shouting out Britton?
because he cares about the show.
He does. Britton listens,
and he was looking out for our sound engineering side.
Britton's
of
a
things.
coach at Aspire. He played for me. He's on the wall. You probably could see him.
He might be.
Yeah, no, he's definitely on the wall.
Is he on that group? He's in that group. I know he is.
He was young in that group.
He's not.
He's right here, number 5.
Number 5. There he is.
So he played for me at Desert Vista. Now he coaches at Aspire, and he's a sound engineer. And he's heard some sound
issues that we have. Weird. We have issues.
Right. So, Britton, we apologize for the...
maybe by episode 50, we'll know what the heck's going on.
If we do 50 episodes, man,
that'd be pretty cool.
So hopefully...
Chris looks over.
Well, I know. I'm just learning. So
Yeah.
We're all learning, dude.
yeah, we're all learning here. Britton,
Yeah.
come on down. Like,
Yeah.
show us some some things.
Maybe we get Britton as a guest on the show, and then he can dial in the sound for us.
Let's do it.
All right,
We have
Britton.
no idea what we're going to talk about.
Not yet, but you're on.
But you're on.
You're on, Britt. Here we go.
You're on deck.
All right, Chris, we got some trivia going over there today.
Yeah, let's hit it up with Chris's show trivia of the show.
Yeah.
Sponsored by.
Sponsored by.
by Chris's private lessons. So if you guys need to get a private lesson from me, hit me up at Coach MagVB on Instagram. We'll hit you guys up. All right. So a couple things here. I did some research on it. I'm trying to make the trivia a lot better.
That's actually a real sponsor.
Yeah.
Like we said Melon before and Salad and Go, Starbucks. We're now fully sponsored by Chris Mag's private lesson.
Yeah.
I feel good about this.
So go get a private lesson from me.
We're moving in the right direction.
All right. So here is the trivia of the day. All right. I don't know if you guys know, we're almost towards the end of high school boys season, and we are in the presence of greatness. Ryan Tolman.
Oh my gosh.
3 state championships.
Yeah.
All right. There are 2 other coaches in the state of Arizona that have equal or more than
Just on the boy side?
just on the boys' side, and then I'm gonna leave a question to the people out there. So this is a question for you: who has equal or more than the amount of state championships that
And
Ryan Tolman?
this is in the history of Arizona volleyball.
This is the
This is
history.
This is so easy.
This is
I know,
so
this
easy,
is the
I know.
one thing
It's
I
like
know.
there's a guy on your staff to the left or right of you.
Yeah, you count our staff. It's unequaled. So Fred Mann has the most. Fred's won 7. He is sort of the godfather of Arizona boys volleyball. He won a ton early. Coached Reed Pretty, and former Olympian. He's incredible. And now Fred's my assistant coach. So between the two of us, we've won 10 state championships.
But he also has 2 on the girls.
He has 1 on the girls.
1 on the girls?
And
Okay.
1 sand. So he's won 9 total.
So 7 only boys. Wow. Okay.
Incredible.
And then the other one is
And the
Troy.
other one's Troy Dooling. Yep.
Yep.
Troy.
And then there actually might be one at the 5A level because of Mott, but she might only have 2.
Oh, I don't think
Ma-
she's got more than 2, but maybe
It's tough. But Canyon Del Oro kind of was good early.
Way
But yeah,
back
I
when.
can only think of Fred and Troy.
Yep. Is that right?
I only had Troy winning 2.
Troy's won
Is that right?
3.
3. Oh, 3. Yeah, 3. Okay, and there's another one.
2 at
V
Boulder.
Iapo
Oh, forgot
has
about
won
V.
3.
V has won 3.
V won 3 at Highland?
3, yeah. Mm-hmm. So
Wow,
one
I
in
thought she only got
2004, 2005, and
2013.
2013.
Yep.
That 13 squad was nasty.
We don't.
You guys
no,
beat
no, no,
them.
no, no. We're not talking about the 2013
We're not
season.
talking about it.
No,
we know
we're
how it
moving-
ended.
We're moving on.
Moving
Yep.
on.
All right, and then the next question.
I love how we do 2 questions. It gets me.
Yeah. The
gets me all
next
happy.
question is on the boys' side. All right. Who are the schools? So they're. I don't know how to word this, but
It's your question.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
All right.
I just have the facts in front of me. I just don't know how to word the question. But how many? What schools have equal the amount of wins that Ryan Tolman has?
Oh,
as
so
a
like
state champion?
his career wins.
Yeah, his career wins at 3.
State
There's
championships.
Oh.
4 other schools in the state of Arizona
Mountain
for
Point.
boys. Well, they're one. They have more than 3.
Boulder.
So 5 schools, I guess, if you count Mountain
Oh,
Point.
right. So there's
Boulder.
Yeah.
Highland.
So Boulder has 3. Highland has 3.
Yep. 2 more schools that have
2 more.
3 state championships.
Oh, not Mountain View.
Nope.
No, they only have 1.
Not Mesa. No one in Mesa Public Schools. Chandler. Anything in Chandler?
Nope.
Nope. West Side. Dude, it's got.
You're warm, but not.
Dude, it's
Like,
got to
too
be.
far.
It's got to be a Tucson school. Is it Cienega?
No.
Nope.
Dang it.
You're on like.
It's
South
South Point.
Nope.
Damn. It's not Canyon Del Oro.
It is
CDO
not.
from back in the day.
It is not.
Oh man. So we've gotten.
Oh,
2.
how about Catalina Foothills?
Catalina Foothills is 1.
Shout out Dave Thistle.
And then there's one more with 3 state championships.
Boy, this is
Corona.
Nope.
Okay. I know they have 1. But I didn't know.
I don't think Corona has 1.
Yeah, they do.
You guys need a hint?
No, I don't think.
Okay.
Honestly, Corona doesn't have 1.
The hint is Perry competed at this school this past weekend at the tournament.
Brophy.
God, I'm
Brophy.
sorry,
Also,
Tony.
Brophy-
I'm so sorry, Tony.
And I thought Brophy too, but if Brophy has it, then Tony's got 3 then. I think Tony has 3 state championships. I think all those are Tony's.
No.
No, he doesn't. No, he
No.
has 2. One, a guy was before him.
The first Brophy prep win was in 1998 by a gentleman or a coach named James Gimlick.
Really? I thought Tony was pretty much their only coach they've ever had.
If you did this on the girls' side, oh my God, there's.
Well, I mean, if you want a girls' side question,
Yeah.
here it is. Who has the most state championships in Arizona girls volleyball dating back to
Dude, I think it's easy.
1968?
Oh, I think it's still Slope.
yeah,
No.
Okay, it's not, and then it's not Xavier.
No.
it's got to
Oh,
be.
dude, it's something weird.
It's
then
going to be like a 1A, 2A, whatever. What is it, Chris? Just
It
tell
is Safford.
There you go.
High
Oh,
School.
jeez.
With
All right.
21
Oh my
high
gosh,
school
that's
state
just
championships since the
Safford.
inception of the Arizona Interscholastic Association.
That's crazy.
Crazy.
21
AKA AIA.
You know what the
Yeah.
craziest the craziest run of state championships in the history of AIA sports is?
Brophy swim.
Brophy swim 39 and 40
Well, and then
years.
there was also that school that was good at cross country on the res.
Yeah, they
They were
won
on
some,
like
too.
a 30 for 30. They won so many. But yeah, Brophy swim is out of control.
It's crazy. Yeah, that'd be a lot of pressure.
Dude, I love trivia.
I know.
Is that just a meet? I hope.
Yeah, it's a you thing. I'm sure everybody on the listening is like, just move on.
Yeah,
guys.
they're hitting.
Okay,
like,
speaking of Brophy swim, how many state championships has
It's
Brophy swim won?
It's like 50.
No.
47.
42.
Yeah.
42.
It's
And then
crazy.
how
All
many
different
consecutive
Oh.
years did they win?
Well, but we were just there at Brophy for the tournament and we were looking at it. We were amazed. And it's like, they went like 80, they won like 15 in a row and then they lost like 1987 randomly. And then they reeled off another like 30 in a row or something like that.
No.
22.
No, 32 from
32.
1988 to 2019.
Yeah, so I told you. So they lost in '87,
Oh my
right? I remember we just talked about this when we were there.
And this is at this Division 1/6A level.
Yeah. So
oh my god.
somehow they lost in '87, and then they reeled off to 2019, and then they lost in 2020, the COVID year. And I remember it was a huge deal because they got like tested, and a bunch of their swimmers couldn't
don't remember
swim.
this.
So it was almost like an asterisk, like next to the state championship because Brophy should have won it, but they had a bunch of swimmers get.
Did they win it in 23?
Because of COVID. Have they won it
Chris?
since then?
Did they win it in 23?
Like
Did
last
they get
year
back-
fall?
Did they
Like,
get back on
win
the
it in
horse?
the fall?
No, they did not.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
They're down.
Uh-oh.
They're down. They're
They did
in
not
trouble.
win it in 23.
Oh man! All right,
That's
so
a good one, Chris.
Yep.
Nice job.
Thanks, man.
little Arizona high school history for some of y'all out there. All right, so let's get to the quote of the show. We have a multimedia quote today. We're actually pretty excited about this. Chris is learning, as we talked about, learning how to help our podcast get better here.
Yeah,
And
this
so-
quote is from Kicking and Screaming.
Yeah,
Here it is. Here we go.
let's do it. This is Will Ferrell. He's a dad, also a coach.
Let's get ready to play, huh? I don't want to see any laziness there, okay? If we win this, we're in the finals. If we get a big lead, we got to pummel these guys. We got to pummel them at all costs, dominate, and hammer them. I want you to play dirty if you have to, but don't get caught. Young son,
Don't get caught.
stay low, okay? That's easy for you. Just chop block him in the back of the knee. That'll work well. Ambrose, you're big. Don't be afraid to throw the elbow. If you break someone's collarbone, that's a good thing. That's what the medic's for. Otherwise, he's just sitting around, all right? You hear me?
Hey, Phil. No, I don't think that's a very good
That's
attitude.
Mike
You
Ditka.
can't talk about hurting other players.
You don't think? You don't think? I don't think you should be butting in when I'm talking to my team. You're my assistant, okay? You're supposed to back me up and go get me juice boxes when I tell you. Now go get me a juice box.
You know who you're talking to?
I'm talking to the juice box guy.
You're crazy.
I'm not crazy. I'm just thirsty.
Well, now you go to hell.
No, you go to hell. While you're there, why don't you grab me a juice box?
I'm no juice box boy, I'll tell you that.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. You're like your old man.
I'm not like my old
If
man.
it wasn't for these kids, I would whip your butt.
I can take a punch.
I'm out of here. Bye-bye.
That's funny.
That's great.
Sweet.
So,
How does that have to do with travel tournaments?
well,
it does. No, everyone loses their mind.
100%. I think that's the best
everyone
way to
loses
put
their
it.
mind. Everyone's amped up on espresso, just like in camp, kicking and screaming, and they just see red.
And winning,
Everyone.
winning is just it gets everybody worked up. So let's start from the beginning, and talk about why we travel from a club perspective.
Yeah, you go first. I'll just piggyback.
Yeah,
you.
sure. Just a couple weekends ago, I was in Vegas, and I had a tap on my shoulder, and Mom had some questions, and one of them was, why are we here, right? And I certainly failed to do a better job of communicating to her before the tournament, everybody before the tournament. Like, this is why we travel, and the biggest reason why we travel is on the girls' side is to try to earn a bid to nationals. So USA Volleyball, the way they've designed their national tournament is if you're going to go play in the national tournament, for the most part, we can get into semantics, but we won't. you have to earn a spot, and we call it a bid. And these are qualifiers. So you're going to go to a national qualifier, and you're going to play against a bunch of teams around the country. And if you win or you finish high enough, then you earn a bid. So you fix
In the division you enter.
you fix your place in the tournament, in the national tournament. So like, so there's different divisions. There's the open division, which is the highest, and it goes down to national, USA, Liberty, Freedom. There's a ton of them, but so essentially the reason why we travel is because we want to earn a bid at nationals. We want our girls to have that experience of playing at USAV nationals. That's probably the number one reason why we do it. Number two,
Probably 1B if you're a parent/player.
is to be able to play in front of college coaches.
Correct.
So these tournaments are littered with coaches from around the country who are looking for the next best volleyball player for their program. And so it's from a college coaching perspective, it's the easiest way to find kids, right? Back in the day before there were these huge travel tournaments, some of these coaches had to, you had to pop in VHSs and tape it.
Sent via.
Yeah, and then you had to travel, and you had to really be selective with who you went to see, because you'd had to go to a high school tournament and sit and watch. Maybe if you were lucky, 2 or 3 girls that might be worth it, and for the most part, it was one. Right, I'm going to go to Phoenix. I'm going to watch this girl play in this high school game, and she's the only one I'm watching in that match. Now, you can go
140 courts.
It's crazy. You can go and watch dozens of hundreds of thousands of athletes play within a weekend, and it certainly facilitates the recruiting process. So that's the next reason why. And then I suppose at this point the other reason is it's fun. We want to go have fun.
Yep.
And then in that fun, there's subcategories, right? We want to teach the girls, how to be part of a team, right? How to play a role on the team, especially some of these girls who want to go play in college. I mean, colleges are traveling every week, and so this is sort of a prep for what that looks like in a college environment. Team bonding is important on these trips, right? Girls get to spend a lot of time together, in a different environment than they're used to, and so you hope that maybe you can bond, or unfortunately sometimes
Do the opposite.
not bond.
Not bond.
Do the opposite.
Unbond.
Yeah, familiar with that.
Unbond. Yes, I think at some point, if you coach long enough, we're all familiar
Debond?
with the unbonding process at these travel tournaments, right? Because things get hard. People lose their mind. They get crazy.
People lose their mind. Espresso.
So essentially, that's why we do it. Did I miss anything there, Will, Chris?
Yeah, to see other teams get exposed, see what the best look like, see what the worst look like. Where do we fall?
Right, because in Arizona, you can feel pretty good about yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm the best in Arizona. Kind of like Presley, right? When she was on that 12s team, they won everything.
Yeah.
Go to nationals, they lose everything.
Yeah, get slapped. Right.
So I think you just get exposed to other athletes, other systems, other coaching styles, and you just get cultured.
Right, and that's important.
That's important.
Very important. So
There's so many angles.
Right.
From a parent perspective, it's I want to get my kid recruited. From a player perspective, I want to get recruited and win.
Right.
From a coach perspective, we want to win.
And go eat at good places.
Yeah, no, good food is
Look, you're talking to the right guy.
good food. First dinner, second dinner. Yeah,
All I ever think about as I prep for tournaments is where are we eating?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's important. It's an important part of the formula. Totally agree.
I agree. Like, it's a great way to explore their towns, and that's going to create a deeper connection with the people that you're going to coach with, right? So me and Will, we were okay friends going into now 2 seasons in. Like, I think we're pretty solid. We're pretty tight, Will.
We're tight.
Yeah.
We're
You bonded.
We bonded. We did not debond. Unbond.
Unbond. We did not do that.
Yeah.
Disbond.
Disbond.
Yeah, this last one in Vegas, I was super bummed because my schedule didn't fit, and everybody went and got all-you-can-eat sushi at some. Did you
I
go,
was
Chris?
not there. Chris was not there.
I was not there.
Neither one of you went.
Yeah. That was a special group.
I got invited, and then I couldn't go. I was
It's
super
okay.
upset.
It's okay. Sometimes the stars don't align. It's all right.
It did not align for me on that one.
The one thing I would say is the boys system, which I'm not
Sure.
going to lie, I'm probably biased, but I enjoy more. There is
Well-
less pressure because there is no bid
And that's
to get.
That's the part I don't like.
So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, right?
Right. So
what do you not like about it?
Boys volleyball a couple of years ago had a big coup in California, and the California clubs decided they no longer wanted to be affiliated with USA Volleyball in California, and the rest of the country was like, well, that's where the good volleyball is, so we're just going to follow. So it was this mass exodus from USA Volleyball to AAU, and now we play AAU. So the AAU tournament does not require a bid. You can sign up for whatever division you want. Interestingly, they now are having to make some adjustments because they've had so many teams join the AAU national tournament. It used to be 1 week, now it's 2 weeks because they couldn't fit everybody in, and they don't just accept anybody into those divisions. You sign up, and then they have a cap, and then they go off of rankings and other things to decide basically who should fill that tournament. So it's interesting that you don't need a bid. But yet it is regulated. They still do a nice job of regulating and making sure that they have the right teams in there. So you don't get some random team that's not any good that jumps in an open tournament and then they just get slapped around on day one and they're miserable, whatever, right? So that is the difference between and I like it from a director's perspective because we know where we're going.
Logistics
we know what we're
are
doing.
Easy from that side.
Yeah, I don't have to wait for a bid or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just going. So we can say, these are the teams we're sending. You don't have to worry about,
parents love that.
Are we going to make it? Are we not?
I love it.
Sure. They can book way in advance.
Yep.
They can watch for flight, cost and things like that. I love it. That part of it. What I miss about the bid process is the anxiety.
Yeah.
I think
you're chasing.
I think it's a good feeling when you get it. I think it creates a different level of volleyball that it's hard to create otherwise.
Yeah.
Like club volleyball, for the most part, none of it really matters. For boys especially, you don't have to really win other than just the desire to win. So I suppose you weed out some kids who are like, oh, I don't really care. We're just here to have fun, right? But for girls, like it's playoff type volleyball from the get-go.
It's the best. You have to perform at your best.
And I like the high leverage, anxiety riddled, moments that are created by
it's the carrot and the stick.
Bid. Yeah,
there's something to go. Yeah,
right. So that part about the USA system, I do appreciate. But
it's the logistical side of things.
Sure. And I also think that a lot of times every year somebody misses tournaments because they for whatever reason, good teams that deserve to be there miss out because they didn't, for whatever reason, didn't
their
qualify.
Their path was harder, injuries, yeah.
I remember a few years ago, I don't remember who said it, a parent, you don't have to beat everybody in the tournament. You just got to beat the ones in front of you. And it's true, right? Like a lot of it depends on who you play, when you play them, what the matchups look like, your seeding when you go in, and that gets tricky. I mean, if you're the 1 seed going into an open girls tournament, your path is significantly easier than if you're the 12 seed and
on the turn or whatever it is. Yeah.
So it gets hard. So there's a lot of dynamics there that certainly are at play, and I think a lot of those things parents don't understand. You look at the tournament and you're like, oh, okay, well, this is where we're placed or whatever, and they don't see the big picture.
Parents know when they need to be at the court to watch.
Most of them.
For the
Some
most
of
part,
them are pretty savvy, but most of them.
Like, you're not wrong. I would say most of them are just like, okay, I need to be here at 9, 11, 1. And they're not looking at the flow, what if then stuff. They're just, right. I need to be there to watch the team, my daughter.
And maybe we
son.
need to do a better job of educating parents on this one. Like you mentioned flow. What does that even mean, flow?
I don't know.
You do know. Stop. You're the king. You're the king of the flow.
No, you know who the king of the queen of flow is? Beth Nuneviller, dude.
Yeah, no,
Beth
sure.
Nuneviller, and I got to coach under her for a while. No, flow is just, how does the tournament go if you win? How does the tournament go if you lose? I'm the king of the flow, yet I don't know tiebreaker procedures. So, yeah.
Too soon.
Yeah, no, it's still too soon. It's all good. I guess when we get past a year, then we're fine. All right. So day one, most tournaments are, if you finish first and second, then you're now in the top half. Finish third and fourth, you're in the bottom half. Third and fourth, now you're not playing.
You're done.
For anything. Anything in air quotes, right?
Right. You're not trying to get a bid anymore.
First and second, now you're still moving up to the cream of the crop. That I think that's the best way to view it. Is like it gets tinier and tinier, the best of the best.
Right.
And you just got to keep winning. Typically, be top half for day 1, day 2.
Right.
Now, some tournaments have weird numbers, so then you might be in a pool of 3. You cross in the PM.
Right. There's all kinds of stuff that can happen.
And the tournament field really it determines like the amount of teams in a field determines how it can flow.
Right.
36 and 48 are super easy to flow. 24 is easy to flow.
Even numbers.
Even numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Divisible by 4.
Well,
good things happen.
And then looking ahead, like we mentioned Beth, she's our recruiting director at Aspire and has coached for years. And she also could always figure out like who you're going to play next. Like if we finish here, we're going to have to play this team. And like she just had it all figured out. And so a lot of that falls on coaches to figure out. And we talked to our coaches about understanding the flow. Something that you did a nice job of when you coached Garrick, I'm sure you're still doing it with your boys, is you used to force them to
go over to the bracket
to
or
look
go
at the
into
flow.
ASF. Yeah,
Yeah.
go. Yeah, like
look and see
what is it we're doing?
Right.
Yeah.
Where does your tournament going to go, and what is it going to look like, and what
'Cause
do
it's
you
a
need
game.
to do? Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
Like it's a game within a game.
So all things that I think are good and important for people to know and understand. And you know, in the middle of this conversation, I'm like, well, maybe I should be sending emails to parents explaining all of this stuff. So either that or just a copy of this podcast, and then they can understand
A little
sort
more
of what we're trying to get to. So that's why. That's the big. That's a long why, but
That's a long. There's so many whys though.
That's the biggest whys is to travel and what we're looking to accomplish when we do travel, and you know, and ultimately we want to win. And isn't that sort of the point of sports?
Yes.
Right. Competition, sports, like, hey, why do you play sports? Oh, because I'm competitive and I want to win.
Correct.
And I don't think with today's athlete, there's enough of that. I think a lot of them are social and they enjoy the, you know, just being part of the team, or they're
Nothing
excited.
wrong with being social, but that can't be the main.
No,
that cannot be the main.
You have to have this just deep desire to win every time you step on the court. That certainly separates the good from the great. So let's now move into sort of the coaching perspective at these tournaments. We've talked a little bit about it already, but this part for me is going to be an interesting conversation. I want to talk about the differences between expectations and reality, right? and what that looks like for coaches. So let's start with expectations. Chris, I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to throw you on the spot. You ready over there?
Yep.
Before every tournament, what's your expectation? And I know that's really broad.
Yeah, I was trying to think about where I could start with that, but before every tournament, like
Every travel tournament.
before we travel,
Yeah.
what is
Before
our
you travel, what's
expectation?
your expectations as a head coach?
I mean, first of all, what team am I coaching?
You're
Right?
coaching.
Am I coaching a
You're
ones
coaching
team?
your yeah, absolutely. Your top.
All right, so we're prepping them so that we can win the tournament. Like that's what we want, right? We want everyone to obviously get along and uphold those things. I'm a big believer in the non-volleyball things, right? So if we kind of if things don't go our way, and hey, let's bring it back down to our connections. Let's bring it back down to our body language kind of thing, right? What's our game plan going in? What are some lineups am I going to start? What are the options I can do if this girl is struggling or that girl is struggling kind of thing? Because we've had to do that in the past, especially this season. We've had a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of players, miss due to certain reasons or whatever. So preparing our lineups, preparing the little things, and then hopefully we go out there and play volleyball and give ourselves a chance to win.
Okay. What do you want to add to that, Will?
Perform at our best.
That's the expectation.
Yeah, perform at our best. If you're not performing at your best individually and as a team at a travel tournament, we have problems. Yeah. Now, does that mean you have the same lineup the whole time, parents? No.
It might.
It might. You're absolutely right. It might. Especially if you're at nationals with 8 guys. Right? Like you're
Right.
going to have you're
Right.
going to have the same lineup the whole time, and either they perform and they make it to the finals or they don't. Right? Or you have a lineup that is super fluid and similar to our 18s girls, where we are X deep, and if not all players are playing at their best, we are not going to be good, because we all need to be good. We all need to be like contributing, but then not every team's like that. But I think if you're not performing at your best at a travel tournament, whatever that means, then that's the issue.
Then you failed.
Yeah. Does that mean you win?
Not necessarily.
Because you can
Right.
be going up a team better than you.
We talked about
Right?
all that with
Yeah.
the flow and everything.
Yeah, and I also want to add some of the expectations that we relate to our players. Where, hey, if we win the first set, chances are I'm not changing the lineup.
Right.
Right. We won. Why? If it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing. If you're not performing, then most likely I'm going to change the lineup based on the stats, kind of thing. Right. So that's the kind of changes and kind of game plan and the expectations that the girls know. Like, if we're still in it, if we're still in gold contention, sorry, we're gonna go with the win. Playing time, I'm not gonna feel bad about your lack of playing time.
So, what's the reality?
The reality is
This is where the rubber hits the road, right?
A lot of rubber, a lot of road.
A
yeah.
lot of it. What's the reality?
I think the reality is not everyone's going to be able to perform.
Yep.
They're not sleeping in their own bed. They're probably not
Yep.
eating well. They're
Yep.
like, so if they're not performing well and then they get put on the bench and they're at a travel tournament, are they going to be a good teammate? That's a coin toss. But this is where the kicking and screaming quote comes in. This is where everyone loses their mind.
Lose their mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reality for me, and I've gained some perspective from the other side, a director's side, because I have so much to worry about, right? I'm worried about, are the girls happy? Are the girls performing at their very best? Are my coaches happy? Are my coaches protected? Right?
Correct.
Are the parents happy? Are they getting what they want from the tournament? So I have this unique perspective. And honestly, the hardest part, and this is part of this sort of education process, maybe it's part of our expectations need to be our realities, right? Like, you are expected, and I think our coaches do a good job of talking about this, but I don't know that the girls do a good job of
Understanding
hearing it and understanding it. Our expectations is we're going to go to win this tournament. We're going to go play the best lineups to give our teams the best chances to win. And no matter what we do, our main focus is winning.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the girls necessarily understand that.
I think you can say boys
Especially,
too. I think
girls
you can
and boys,
say,
right.
Yeah.
So especially from, and it goes all the way down, from 1 to 12, right? 1 to 6, they're playing.
They're playing.
They're going to go give it their all. 7 to 12, in and out, maybe play, maybe not. But what does that look like? And unfortunately, the reality for coaches at these tournaments is that they are second guessing everything that they do.
Third and fourth guessing. You're talking to your assistants. You're probably staying up till 2 a.m., Chris, overthinking, right? Like, it's
hard.
When we get this responsibility of being a head coach, it's a little easier as an assistant, truthfully. The world is on your shoulders, if you will.
Yeah.
The 12 kids, the 24 parents, all that weighs on you because you don't want to screw it up. You don't want to lose. So you're thinking of all the different possibilities. I think it's so funny. We say it all the time. Do you think we're trying to lose?
Well, and
parents think that we're trying to lose all the time.
And so that's where I'm going with this. Like, girls, moms and dads, boys and girls, moms and dads, right? We start every show with that. Listen to what we're trying to tell you. Our reality is very challenging in these tournaments because we're trying to satisfy
everybody.
And you can't. You're never going to make everybody happy. And even when we win, I can't tell you how many times we've had teams win and be successful. These two looking at each other, they just experienced that. We win. We go to the tournament to get a bid. We come home with a bid.
We have more problems.
People are upset still.
It's nuts.
It's incredible.
Crazy.
The kicking and screaming that
it's
happens.
The best this group has performed under us for the last 2 years, and we had issues for some reason. It's like, wow,
lots of issues.
Like, are you not watching the same quote unquote product that we are? Because they're playing great.
Maybe that's, as a director, maybe that falls on me. I need to educate parents more.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, you can take it, but I don't know if that should be on. I don't know. You'd have to talk to other directors to see how much they educate and how much they're doing to send out PDFs of things. And I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the root of the evil is what?
Oh, dude, why can we call people out on this?
No, I think the root of the evil is how much money they're paying.
Sure.
And that's just we're in America.
There's nothing, there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah,
the hardest,
exactly.
And then the other kind of caveat to that is like, as a coach, I didn't serve, pass, set,
Players win,
hit.
coaches lose.
I didn't do any of that.
When we lose, it's
know?
coach's fault.
And-
And when we win, it's also the coach's fault.
It's a travel ball is for a coach and for a club.
It's a lot.
Can have a lot of challenges, and there's so many things that can go wrong.
What makes it easier? Because this is what how I keep my sanity. What makes it easier is like the coaching staff.
Sure, being with people that you love and enjoy being with. And
Like when
coaching
you
with.
have a tough day, you're just like, I want to be with my staff.
Right.
Like,
Dude, I was out and about just at 10:30 on the strip, and I texted Will, "Hey, bud, you up?" And he calls.
You up, Tex?
He calls me at like 20 minutes later. He's like, "Hey, I'm coming." I'm like,
yeah, I
I'll
got
be
you,
there.
man.
All
I got
right.
you.
So we ended up staying out till like 2:00 in the morning.
just walking around,
just walking around.
helping each other out,
Yeah.
talking through stuff, seeing seeing another Aspire coach. She
Yeah.
wasn't there, Katie
Yeah.
Taylor. Like you just
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just so hard to. It's just so hard to compartmentalize everything that's happening at those tournaments. That's why second dinner. We've
Yeah.
alluded to that on the show before. If you've listened throughout the whole thing,
it's our venting session.
second dinner happens at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. If you can find a place open, IHOP or whatever.
That's what's nice
And-
about Vegas. It's always
Always
open.
open.
We always got
Always
food. We can
open.
always
You
see
know?
fights, Chris.
We can
We
always see a
fights.
girl group and a guy group singing back and forth
my
to
gosh.
each other.
Vegas, no,
Vegas is a trip, dude.
well, people know. Everybody listening is like, yeah, we know.
Unbelievable.
But that's why those sessions happen, because we need to just, and we don't.
we
even,
need to feel sane.
We don't even talk about volleyball in those second dinners
Most
for
of the
the
time.
most
But-
part. It's
There is volley talk, but
it's-
then most of the time it turns into just BSing. Yep.
because we just have to try to decompress from the day and
Absolutely.
the weights of trying to please everybody. And
That's
all
why
right,
it's so important your staff is
let's
cohesive. It's so important. It's hard to do, but it's so important.
It is. No, it is. And then as we try to find combinations of people who can do that for sure when we build these coaching staff. So let's hone in on a little bit then on maybe let's help some people, right? Let's finish with that. Let's help some people understand what are some do's and don'ts from maybe a parental perspective that we would like to see as coaches. And this is hard. And I'm not saying that parents
You go first.
I'm not saying that parents' jobs are easy.
Everyone's job at this tournament is hard. At a
Yes.
tournament,
So moms and dads,
being a youth sport
hard.
parent, hard, especially if they're high
A
performing.
youth sports stakeholder, tournament directors,
there you
parents,
go, stakeholder. I love
refs.
that word, stakeholder.
All hard, guys.
Yeah, all hard. And so let's see if we can help from a coach's perspective. What would we like to see our parents do?
You go first, number one.
The easy answer is be positive
Yep.
all the time, whether your kid's playing or not. Be positive.
Yep.
Be supportive. Make sure that you are engaged in what's happening on the court, whether your kid's on the court or not.
Be positive about the team.
Positive body language. Yes,
Yep.
the team, not
Team.
your daughter.
Team.
The team. Positive body language. I want to see you clapping and cheering and what,
Have parent chants,
Re-
whatever
sure.
those are. Cheers. Have fun.
Regardless of what it is that's happening with your daughter.
Correct.
It's so funny. You could walk to any court, almost any court. Some
and
parent
you know
groups are great.
who's parents who by body language
Yeah.
and who's playing and who's
Yeah,
not.
like exactly.
And guess who also sees that?
The
college coaches.
The college coaches, they watch parents. They watch girls. They watch body language.
Yeah.
And I know that a lot of our parents are having those conversations with their daughter. It's crazy. I can see it happening in the middle of matches. Like I've looked over and watched parents mouth to their kid like, it's okay, good body language. And then the minute the play starts, they're on their phone. They're like, whatever, this is so boring. I can't believe I'm watching this and my daughter's not playing. And again, I understand it's hard.
You did it.
I've actually
You've done it.
I've been guilty of
Yeah.
just sitting and not really being engaged in what's happening because my daughter's not playing. I'm guilty of it. I'm not saying this is easy. If you can perfect it, and the best way to do it, and I encourage parents this all the time, build relationships with the people around you. Get to know the other parents.
Yeah.
If you're sitting by yourself or with your spouse and you're just brooding over what's happening, you're not going to ever get out of it what you could potentially get out of it from a social perspective.
Yeah.
These tournaments are very social. There are people everywhere. It's probably part of my anxiety.
I think that's why Katie Tolman loves going to them. Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
My wife loves these tournaments because there's always people to talk to, something to go do, something to see. She loves it. Me, on the other hand, way too many people. They're always in my way.
Yeah.
I wish the only
Not in a mean way. They're literally just
literally in my way.
Yeah.
The only time I really enjoy these tournaments is when we're playing, because then the bench becomes my sort of refuge, safe space, right? But yeah, I get to know those people that you're with.
Yeah.
Talk to them on in different level and maybe make it more about the human connection than the volleyball. And I think that would go a long way when you then turn around and you're watching, and now one of your close friend's daughter is playing, and you're pulling for her as much as you are for your daughter, and whether she's playing or not. It's, again, parents, don't listen, don't misunderstand what we're saying here. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's very hard. What else do we do? What else we want to encourage them to do? Your turn.
Do support everything the coach does.
Yes.
You have to.
Don't talk bad about
the
coach
coaches
decisions.
to the other parents. If a parent comes up to you and says, "Why is your daughter not playing?" I don't know, coach's decision.
Right.
Just stop it right then and there.
Exactly.
Do not feed into it, because there is a reason.
Right.
And it's a reason that maybe was talked about all the way to you.
Well,
and what
and
I mean by you is to director.
Sure.
Maybe we talked about it as our staff, just one staff of 3-4 people. Maybe it was talked about the whole club. Like, hey, what should we do in this particular decision? It's not just one person.
Or how about don't ask?
Don't ask.
Don't ask, why is your kid not playing, or why?
Yeah.
The word why should never come out of your mouth as a parent on these tournaments.
Yeah.
And so then the next step of that, and this is the hardest part.
A lot of hardest parts here.
Do have positive conversations with your kids, and do enjoy the moments you get to have with your children on these tournaments.
Yeah.
So at Aspire, at our club, we don't do team rooms. Some places still do team rooms. We have our kids stay with their parents, and there are some certain pros and cons that come with that.
Like everything.
Both sides. So some of the pro that I think, the most important thing that I think it happens when parents room with their daughters or sons on these tournaments, is you get to spend some incredible quality time with your kid.
Yeah.
You can go into a hotel room, and if you do it right, you shut off the TV, you put the phones down, and you get to just enjoy each other's time together.
Walk around the city, like kind of what he was saying.
See stuff, do things together, and those are moments that
it's a mini vacation.
You can't
if you balance it the right way.
And it's hard to get those moments in any other setting, especially if it turns into like a one-on-one. Like you travel with just like it's one parent with one kid, right?
They get tight.
Those moments are so valuable. And the worst thing that as a parent that you can do is talk crap about a coach.
Or
right?
or just make it negative.
Player.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Player, yeah.
You have to reframe things for them.
Right.
Hey, how can we make this go into life, and how these are life lessons? Like, make it as positive as possible.
Well,
back to the positivity.
Because the kid's going to want to talk about the games.
Which is fine. And the kid needs to vent.
100%, right? But then it makes sure as a parent, you're really working hard to not go into this. Well, I don't know why coach played that kid.
Yeah. I don't get it either.
I don't, it's ridiculous. I don't know why the coach took you out in the back row. You're so good back there.
Yeah.
Why are they playing Susie? She's horrible.
Correct.
Right? Stuff like that.
All negative things.
If coach had put, Heather in, poor Heather. If coach had put Heather in, we probably would have won.
Maybe.
Oh,
If Coach put him in the fourth quarter, they would have won the state championships.
You never know.
Yeah.
Right?
Uncle Rico.
Uncle Rico. If I'd have put me in, I'd have taken state. Right? Uncle Rico to this day is still adamant that he would have won state if he'd have played. And so it's so easy as a parent to just agree with your kid. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. This is stupid.
Yeah.
And then instantly you've ruined everything that they potentially could have learned that day.
Yeah. And it just
So,
goes.
like you said, reframe it. And the kid's like, man, Mom, I don't know why in the heck is Coach playing Susie? And moms and dads, best answer, I think Coach probably feels like Susie gives him the best chance to win.
Yep.
Because that's what the coach decided. And the coach wants to win. Well, I don't know, Mom. Susie's super, bad back there, or she's mean, or whatever. I mean, 1,000 different
Come
excuses.
up with whatever you want.
Yeah, and you know what? Agree with them. You're right. She probably is, but maybe
Still
see
the
it
coach's decision.
from a different perspective, coach's decision, and try to work with Susie. Maybe you can find some common ground with Susie, and you can help to further some of those relationships on the team. So that part is, if you talk to a lot of coaches and directors around the country, that part is so negative when it comes to parents and kids staying together. Oh, I can't believe they're going to be in the same room. Here they go. They're all going to go off.
Yeah.
And they're all going to talk bad about what just happened, and they're all going to come back super negative tomorrow.
Or the second you leave the gym, you don't, I mean, it's hard to, I understand, but you do your best to just use that as your vacation time.
Sure.
In Indy, in Vegas, in Chicago.
Wherever we're,
Stay
Orlando.
safe. Stay safe, of course. Right? And you just kind of disassociate from the volley.
Right.
And when you're in the gym, it's volley. And when you're out of the gym, it's family.
It's life.
Or it's life, yeah.
It would be
Very easier said than done.
Absolutely.
100%. And you're going to have some intrusive thoughts, and it's going to happen, but you got to separate the two, I think. That's how I've at least mentally been able to do this. And Andrew and I talk about this a lot, Yamashiro, because he's traveling like crazy right now.
Right.
And he's like, dude, the second I get out of the gym, I can't be thinking about volley anymore.
Well, yeah, no more.
Because if you do, you go crazy.
Go crazy.
You go crazy.
Yeah.
Because we have mental health too.
Right. Coaches are stones. We don't have
My
any-
heart is stone. My mind is not.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a joke here, man.
That's an insider.
My bad. My bad.
That's,
That's
fine.
all good.
Everything's fine. So yeah, I would hope that parents can see sort of what that looks like, and hopefully understand the value that they can bring to these situations for their kids.
Life lessons.
Right?
Spin it.
Help your kid get good rest. Help your kid get good nutrition. Help your kid participate in team bonding.
Even if they didn't
dinners, even if they didn't play, especially if they didn't play.
Correct.
Get them into those moments with the team where they can find out more about themselves than just the volleyball. What we have to remember is volleyball is just something that we all do. It's not the only thing that we are. It doesn't define who any of us are, parents, players, or coaches. There's a human element to this that often gets lost when we go to these tournaments. You walk through those convention center doors,
And kicking and screaming, here we are.
Everybody loses their mind.
Everybody loses their mind.
And it becomes this really challenging.
All of a sudden, everyone's shoulders are just like up to their ears, and season. It's so funny to see the seasoned parents versus the non. And they might even be seasoned, but the parents that don't get it, the parents that get it are just sitting there. Yep.
And there are
and some parents don't even watch. They're just like, oh my gosh, we got to do this again.
There's so many great parents.
There are
in our club,
absolutely,
and around the country, and there are so many parents who are still learning the process. And hopefully this is an opportunity, as you've listened, to sort of reevaluate how you do it as a mom or a dad.
And we know you're spending a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
We know that.
And then, how about players? We haven't even really talked about the kids. We talked about performing at the highest level. Well, how can we help them do that? What thought process do they need to have? Because I think a lot of the problems might be able to go away if the girls and boys certainly could have a better perspective.
Most of the time, and let me know what you think of this. Most of the time, the player understands. It's going to be how the player then externalizes that to their parent, so then the parent understands where we're coming from as a coaching staff and why we're doing what we're doing. I think. The hard part is how many kids want to have conflict with their parent and like tell them the truth.
Right.
That's where it's like, Mom, Dad, they're doing the right thing. Be quiet. How many kids are going to do that?
None.
No, there are some.
Maybe a
there are
couple.
some. That's tough.
Hey,
Right? That's hard.
Can't tell you how many parent conversations I've had where they're like, well, my kid doesn't know I'm talking to you about this. And then I'm like, yeah, well, the kid's great. I've had multiple conversations with the kid. So players, here's some advice. Be honest with your parents.
Be honest with your parents.
And disappointment happens. It happens. Every tournament, there's going to be a kid or two on every team who leaves disappointed.
I was disappointed with his salad and go.
Well,
like it happens.
Everybody wants to play.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be on the court, wants to help their team win. The best teams everybody has a role, and sometimes that role is to be supported from the sideline and be ready to play when your name gets called. And hopefully players, you understand that process, and then you do a better job of communicating that with your parents. And then my biggest advice to players, like we want them to perform at their highest level, right? I think the best way to do that is to try to learn how to be unselfish in those travel moments, in those travel tournaments, and knowing that there are feelings top to bottom about what's happening, and trying to play for and this is weird. We could have a whole podcast about this next statement, playing for the person standing next to you. There's a lot of people who disagree with that. You're out there, you're playing for yourself, right? You perform your highest level, but being unselfish and being cognizant of your teammates and everything that's happening around you, I think that can elevate everybody's play, and ultimately you end up being successful regardless of whether or not you got a bid. I've left a lot of tournaments without a bid, or not finishing as high as we thought, and it was successful. Everybody's happy. The kids had a great time. We played really hard. We played at a high level. We beat some good teams. We lost to some teams, and it was great. And then like we talked about earlier, we've left tournaments where we won and half the team's miserable.
World's ending.
And I think a lot of that is just that sort of selfish attitude. So kiddos out there, really try to work on team when you go to these things. And kids get super anxious about it because coaches are watching. Oh my gosh, the coach is here watching me.
Yep.
Well, the worst thing you can do is now
worry about me,
spiral and worry about yourself as opposed to worrying about the team. Because coaches can see your talent regardless.
This is what they do for a living.
And they're looking for the intangibles. They're looking for how you interact with your teammates. They're looking for how you deal with adversity. In fact, a lot of coaches want to watch you lose.
Yes.
So they can see
failure.
They can see how you deal with failure, how you communicate with your coaches. They want to see you get yanked out of a game. Some kids are like, oh my gosh, I got pulled out of a game while this coach is recruiting me, and they freak out, right? And the parents probably freaking out. How could you pull my kid? The University of blah, blah, blah is here watching my kid play, and you pulled her out of the game. Well, guess what? Your kid wasn't performing, needed to get pulled out of the game, and now the coach is watching even more so than he did when you were in the game.
Yep.
Now, in reality, as an incoming freshman, right? How much playing time are you going to even get at the next level as a freshman?
Hardly any.
Unless
you become the best to the worst.
Yeah, unless you're in some situations, right? You're the dude who goes
Very
to a bad
rare.
team.
I don't think we talk about the Yassiana Presleys and the Maddie Skinners. Those girls, that's not the norm, right?
Right. Those are the 1%.
The point.
Yeah.
That's not.
It'd be interesting to know the statistics on that. How many freshmen in the country? What's the percentage of freshmen in the country who actually get to play? And it's not even. It's also based on what school you go to, what's your situation. Maybe they're desperate for middles. Maybe the team's horrible and they just need girls to play, and you're a freshman and off you go. But yeah, that's the part that I think that is misunderstood, is that there are so many other parts to this that coaches are looking for. Coaches on the sideline and coaches that are watching from a college perspective. So girls, boys, play hard, play selfless,
Good things will happen.
Play as a team.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen to your coaches.
On the court, off the court, right? Do what you know to do. And then I think the rest of it will fall into place. And we get worried about things that are outside of our control way too often.
much.
The kiddos do. And one of my favorite quotes, and Michael Shannon coaches at ACP High School here, and he's an Aspire coach as well. One of our favorite quotes, and it's on a mug. If you don't succeed, try doing what your coach told you to the next time. It's a great
funny.
quote.
It can happen.
We
It works.
got
It works
we
most
both-
of the
yeah,
time.
We both have a mug that has it on it. I don't know if someone of the teams at Perry, I think, gave it to us or whatever. It's fantastic. And so hopefully everybody can kind of get on board with that. And we need to make shirts. Next travel tournament, we'll put that on the back of our shirts. What do you think?
Bold move.
I'm doing it.
Do it.
I'm a bold guy.
You have a shirt guy?
I do
Oh
have a
yeah,
shirt guy.
he has shirt guys, shirt
Nice.
girls,
shirt
He-
company.
He's got
Yeah,
shirt
we got-
people.
We got
Yeah.
people. All right. Any last minute sort of additions or anything that we missed? You think, guys?
Ah, dude, that was good.
I feel
think
good about
I-
our contributions to the society today.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, travel tournaments are hard for everybody. That's
Yep.
the
We
whole
come
point.
home on that Sunday or that Monday, and we don't feel like humans again. Probably till Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Something like that.
I'm still recovering from 2 weeks ago.
Oh, man. All right.
Still going through it.
So, boys and girls, moms and dads, pack all of your uniforms
On a carry-on.
and on the carry-on. Don't get your luggage lost. And let's have some great travel tournaments moving forward. We appreciate you guys joining us on this journey, and we'll see you in a convention center someday soon.
Peace. Hardware.
There are some easy ways to reduce the room noise, more so known as reflection or talking in a bathroom. And with a de-esser, you can remove static/feedback to get your voices more focused.
De-esser, what is that?
Well, if they're not good enough to be a libero,
That was awesome.
if they're not good enough to be a libero,
You can't get his joke out.
de-esser.
He can't get his joke out, dude. Just de-esser.